31 minutes past 7 a.m. It's a hump of the week, Wednesday morning. This is Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. The Smooth Breakfast is what you are tuned into, and specifically that time where we get to take a look at the big stories in the papers, get analysis, and of course, get you in on the conversation as well. This is Freshly Pressed. Very good morning to you, Lagos. Welcome into the show, and apologies for the, in quotes, breaking transmission yesterday. I was otherwise indisposed. But good to be back here. Good to be able to share the airwaves with you. And looking forward to an interesting morning. So, you know how we do. And for those who are just tuning in for the first time, you are most welcome. All you have to do is keep it tuned, get a cup of your favorite beverage, kick back, relax, and let the fireworks begin. WhatsApp number to send your messages to 0911-999-0981. Is the WhatsApp number. So leave your comments, concise comments, and please let's stick to the topics of discussion for this morning. You can also join the live stream on YouTube at Smooth 981 FM Lagos, Smooth 981 FM Lagos, and leave your comments there as well. We always look forward to reading from you. All right. It's a full house once again this morning to get some analysis of the stories. Devoe, Okorie, Lakunle, Yusuf, and Mr. C are in the building. Lakunle, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Devoe. Good morning, Mr. C. Good morning, world, wherever you are to listen to us today.
All right, Devoe, good morning to you. Can you hear me, Devoe? Oh, okay. Looks like maybe some network issues. Okay, I think he's back. Devoe, can you hear us? Good morning.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello. Okay. So morning Lagos, morning world. AY Lakunle, the unionist in the studio. Eku, 1 week, two kidnapped. Eku, 1 week, two kidnapped.
Goodness gracious. All right, Mr. C, good morning to you.
Good morning, Naya. Good morning, Lakunle. Good morning, Revolutionary. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Data Squad.
All right, let's begin our journey this morning with some good news. We'll take this out of the Guardian. Devoe. 24 students were abducted from Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School, Maga, in Kebbi State, have been released after spending 7 days in captivity. The students were taken on 17th of November when armed men entered the school in the early hours, shortly after a military detachment had withdrawn from the area. Now, the incident prompted wide public concern over renewed threats to school safety across the Northwest. Thankfully, the girls have been released. All 24 of them have been accounted for now, and that chapter, to a degree, has been closed. Now, the big question is, the girls have been released. How about those who picked them up? What next, Devoe?
Yes, AY, I wasn't really hearing you. I don't know whether you'll adjust your mic.
Okay, is this better?
Yes, it's better.
Okay, all right, carry on.
You did mention that this is good news. No, let me correct that. This is not good news because what we are seeing now is a pattern that is emerging in this country whereby, like I said, 1 week, two kidnaps. And what happens is with this administration, maybe because of the pressure from the United States, they act quick in terms of the resolution. And the point here is not that they're resolving the kidnaps. The point here is that how are they taking place? Because we've seen a pattern whereby I think upper week we had the release of the 38 abductees from the Eruku in Kwara State church kidnap. And
Right.
the presidency told us that the DSS called the kidnappers and they were released. Excuse me, what does that mean? We clearly know that no military might was shown, therefore money was exchanged. This week again, with the presence of the Minister of State of Defense, Matawale, in what do you call it, in Kebbi, he was sent there by the president, and a week after, 24 girls that were kidnapped were released. And we've not been told the method that they approached, even though they've already come out to say that no negotiation or ransom was paid. But you see, you can't, just like we heard Yerima tell Wike, we are not fools, sir. We have integrity. It's almost like this is now an all for all business whereby, because this is showing full government complicity, that everyone kidnaps any soft target like a school or a hospital or a church, and then shortly within 10 days or a week, you've paid ransom. Remember the Eruku 38, they sent an invoice, the bandits sent an invoice of 100 million per person. 100 million times 38 people is 3.8 billion.
Yeah.
So they haven't told us how much was paid for these girls, but I suspect that money is going down. And unfortunately, we can't be, they want to rationalize or normalize kidnapping, whereby, okay, whose turn is it next? Then we now.
Are you there, Devoe? Oh boy, looks like some network hitches.
See terrorists be
Okay, he's back.
determining how operate as. Hello, can you hear me?
You broke off for a second there.
Okay, I was saying, should terrorists be the one to be defining how we live as citizens? We have to really, really come together as a country and decide how we are going to address this matter, because we will not allow a normalization of terrorist activity in this country. For any release of abductees, we expect to see, one, the government in the full weight of its kinetic capacity catch those people that they negotiated with, catch those people that they had caused terror on the people. We want to see faces. Not only that, we want to see sponsors, because in some cases these terrorists have sophisticated weapons. We want to get to the bottom of this thing. We're not going to allow this to happen, because what will happen.
Another breaking transmission there.
About last week, 300 citizens were moved in a Catholic school in Niger State. 50 of them, as they said, ran into the bush, have returned, but about 260 are still in captivity. How much is going to be paid for that? Let's get serious in this country about this matter. We're not going to normalize it. And like I said, this shows complete government complicity, whereby you go and pay and then you come out and you tell us you didn't pay anything. As if in the Buhari years, when there were attacks in Kaduna, Katsina, Zamfara, Kebbi, Niger State, citizens were not paying. Let's stop this foolishness. Let's stop it. I rest my case, because there's more to be said on this state of terror that's going on in the country. It seems as if we want to do ourselves in this country. We're not going to take it. You're telling us that you just made a call to the terrorists and they released them and nothing was exchanged. Please go and tell that to the people. Tell that to the people outside the country.
Okay, so very quickly, I'm just going to add a few thoughts. One is a troubling trend of repeat kidnaps, and that is what Devoe alluded to when he was speaking earlier. And then I note with concern the statement credited to the president, where he thanked the security agencies for their efforts, whatever that means. But there was absolutely no mention of going after the perpetrators of these heinous crimes. So it then begs the question, is Nigeria as a corporate structure, as a corporate unit, actually fighting terrorism? Because all the president kept talking about was keeping more boots on the ground to prevent further kidnappings. So the question now arises, what exactly are we doing? Because when you look at what some of the state governments are doing, it's completely at dissonance with what the federal government is doing. And it begs a question, if you're not willing to go after the perpetrators of these crimes, what then is the moral justification or even the legal justification for keeping people in correctional centers? Is the Nigerian government now telling us certain crimes no longer deserve punishment? That certain perpetrators of certain criminal activities will not be pursued, let alone apprehended, let alone charged to court? What exactly is going on? In any serious country, the statement by Uncle Bayo will lead to the fall of that administration. That statement is incredibly shocking. But then it has now confirmed a number of things that were previously suspected. How the government intends to recover from this remains to be seen. In some schools of thought, it is thought that these events are being state managed. I don't subscribe to those schools of thought, but nevertheless, this is completely embarrassing and shocking to a country that wants to grow to $1 trillion economy.
Right. Chidozie on WhatsApp says victims are rescued, captors aren't arrested. Do these guys in government really think Nigerians are fools? Until that is done and their sponsors exposed, then we're just joking in the country. All right, keep those thoughts coming in. I know you have a number of comments on this particular one. Lakunle, let us step back into the punch. Let's step into the punch here for the first time this morning, and let's talk health. Very interesting one coming out here where the federal government, through the National Health Fellows Program, is calling on qualified young Nigerians to apply for the next cohort of fellows who will support ongoing efforts to strengthen primary healthcare across the country. Now, the NHF program was established to address persistent gaps in Nigeria's healthcare system by training and deploying young professionals to local health systems and driving community-led interventions. The government disclosed in a statement made available to the Punch on Tuesday. It is interesting, Lakunle. I mean, looking at this, clearly, we all know that there's a gap when it comes to healthcare in Nigeria. But would we say that this is just treating the symptoms of the problem rather than the root cause? Because if you do get recruits into the program and everything, eventually what has led the majority of health professionals to leave will also lead these new recruits to leave eventually, don't you think, Lakunle? You're muted, by the way. Are you there, Lakunle? Okay.
Yeah, right. So, we've sat at this table before and we've done a calculation of how government programs is supposed to work. Then I recall that we're speaking to the announcement by the government through the Minister of Health, the Minister of Education, how they plan to expand capability to host, to train medical doctors. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay.
We can hear you.
So that day we were talking about the government's plan and to expand the training and retraining and education of medical doctors in our tertiary institutions.
Correct.
And we did a calculation, the number of years it would take to get to the first 50,000. I think we calculated about 16 years time from that day, which I think was earlier this year or late last year. So if we look at that today, as we are, all the medical schools in Nigeria put together don't turn out 5,000 medical doctors at the end of every year. The maximum, the highest medical institution in Nigeria today with the highest intake at freshers level is 180. And I think that's University of Ibadan, maybe 180 or 200. I think some numbers like that. So, and there are, I think we also checked the number of medical training schools in Nigeria then. I think we had 77. So we did an estimate, say, okay, so let's do 77 times 2,000. That's the maximum that we train every year. And then we noted that, some people will not graduate in the year they are expected to graduate because they will not pass. Some would have dropped out and so on and so forth. And that we went to say that about half of that number immediately graduate, seek to leave Nigeria. And the United Nations estimation, one doctor to 400 people, but in Nigeria we have 1,000, one doctor to 10,000. We made a case of a state that had 4 medical doctors, or is it 44, to a population of 2 million or something. I think if I remember very well, those were the things that we put on the table that day. Now to come here to read that you are asking qualified young Nigerians to apply for this. What is going to make this program attractive to people to want to stay? What is going to make this program attractive to people to want to go to the university to go and study medicine when the capacity to even train the numbers we are looking for is not there? I think that we should not put the cart before the horse. The first place the government, I think we should concentrate on is to expand the capacity to train more doctors. Is it also possible to reduce the number of years and make it an intensive training session so that instead of saying 6, 7 years, you can do 4 years continuous training so that in the next 4, 5 years, we can possibly double the number. I'm not saying that is a right thing. I'm saying let's think different from how we are thinking about a lot of these things. Let's look at what is possible. Nigeria is a member of the Technical Aids Corps. We give our professionals to other countries who are signatories to that thing to go out to go and work and provide technical assistance in medicine, in engineering, in education, in all over the world. Can we also explore the possibility of looking into that program and ask countries like Cuba, who is producing more than enough doctors that they need, to bring them here to fill the spaces? Can we look at, we just talk about security now. So I'm a young person who wants to work, and then I apply for this fellows program. And then you post me to a local government in Nasarawa or Kebbi or Borno. Do I want to go there? No matter how much you pay me, do I want to go there? We're looking at the younger people today. They are looking at their senior colleagues. They are looking at how much they earn as professionals. You think that is attractive enough for them to want to go there, to go and to go and work there? So the questions that we need to ask ourselves, honestly, the thinking that we need to do different are staring us in the faces. And for the life of me, there's no how anybody can tell me that we don't know the right things to do and that we don't have. The only thing I see is that we don't have the will to do them. And that's a part of it that I see when we speak a lot of English about these things. We don't have the numbers yet. We cannot go and create a program where there will be nobody to fill. We must have that number first. That's the first thing to do, that foundation. Create enough room for us to have numbers.
All right.
Reduce the number that are leaving, increase capacity to train more, and then we can start talking about other things.
A clear case of not putting the cart before the horse. I mean, things should go in a sequential manner, not haphazardly. You just wonder the way things tend to be done in this country. And then when the results come out, you wonder, hey, how exactly did this happen? When it was clear to see that that's exactly the direction that you were headed. Lekon in Lagos on WhatsApp says, Lekon, this is a message is extremely long. I'm just going to take a portion of it, like I've said, try to make it as concise as possible. It says, good morning, crew. Under this current regime, a journal was killed, 145 people killed in 4 days, 25 students abducted in Kebbi, and others in Niger State as well by repentant bandits and Boko Haram, that the president said they have repented and have been given billions of naira. Even the Senate passed the bill for repentance. The Senate did not pass the bill. It passed first reading, but that's as far as it went. The bill for repentant Boko Haram, and it wasn't passed. It just passed first reading. Let's get our facts correctly. He says it's all this happened in the APC government from 2015 till now. The president is really continuing in Buhari's legacy. You can see that Nigeria is now a gangster paradise, etc, etc. Like I said, Lekon, please make your messages shorter. This is Benito, who says, hi crew, just like PBAT is the one that buried a fake Buhari. What does that even mean? Same PBAT is unveiling the bandits government partnership. Wow. Who is next to be government bandits napped? Well, your guess is as good as mine. Devoe, still talking matters of insecurity because, hey, developments left, right, and center. Premium Times is what we're pitching our tent right now. And the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, on Tuesday, proposed criminal penalties within the next 6 months for government officials who engage in ransom negotiations or authorize unstructured amnesty deals for bandits. Of course, we've seen different media about government officials hobnobbing with these non-state actors and so on. Now, the Deputy Speaker is proposing this. Does it make some sense, Devoe? Devoe, are you with us?
Okay, let me start whilst We're looking for him. We're waiting for him. So I agree with the comments by the Deputy Speaker that it's about time we stop trying to make normal what is completely absurd and illogical. And it makes perfect sense. In what capacity, on whose authority are these officials entering peace deals with non-state terrorist actors?
That's a good question.
Okay, Devoe's here
Hello,
now.
can you hear me?
All right, we can hear you now, Devoe. Welcome back.
Yes. So this story is actually kind of where the problem lies. The House of Representatives had a special session where they attempted to uh, discuss the insecurity in the country. Came out and said that they need to make a law shows who were going into forms of ransom negotiation, okay, and amnesty programs with terrorists and bandits, okay, and that these were against the criminal justice system. That first of all, just like what didn't happen in the past two kidnap cases, that the presidency came out to say that kidnapped people were released without any mention of the kinetic efforts or the prosecution or anything about those who perpetrated such terrorist activities. Kalu was saying that these people need to be prosecuted. So you can't just start saying, like we heard a month or two ago in Castina and Zamfara, where local government and clergy were discussing with the bandits on some form of amnesty. Now, the problem here is that this conversation is the confirmation that we need that government people have been complicit, either at the local government level, at the state government level, and also the federal government level. If you remember, in the Buhari years, they had an operation whereby they gave, I can't remember the name of that program, they gave the terrorists some form of reprieve if they brought their weapons forward. Even the IG came out 2 weeks ago and mentioned as to how come those amnesty sessions that were taking place in Kaduna and Zamfara, that's why were police in the pictures with the bandits? How come the police didn't arrest them? And the IG said, well, because the bandits came out on their own volition to drop their weapons and negotiate. This our government clearly is not acting in our interest. If at the end of the day, and one of the biggest issues is we don't create this insecurity is not created so that government can come and tell us that they need to borrow $1 billion or they need to spend 4 points. That's triple or double the security budget just to come and tell us at the end of the day that they did not capture anybody and that they've killed 20,000, they've killed 1,000 bandits or terrorists that we didn't see. What was the point of investing in Tucana jets? They spent half a billion US dollars. Okay? $500 million US in buying Tucano jets that they never used. What's the point of spending billions of naira on surveillance equipment? And at the end of the day, you're telling me the bandits are inside the forest. What does that mean? America does not even have to come here. They can sit where they are and they can catch you exactly. They know exactly. The satellites work for us. Even if you use Google, you can bring down their map to 200 meters and see the location that you're at. So what is all this rubbish of making our army and our military architecture look like they can't do anything when clearly we see the reason behind all of this compromise is the money being paid for ransom? Secondly, I've not heard them had conversations on the real root of this banditry and insecurity, which is illegal mining that is taking place in various parts of the north. Whilst the federal government takes the oil from the Niger Delta, many multi-billion-dollar solid mineral deposits of 44 known minerals are scattered all over Nigeria. Why haven't we, as governments, began to put security around some of the illegal mines or find a way to ensure that all those jets that keep flying in and moving and excavating Nigerian solid minerals is addressed? We have to stop this joke because the real insecurity here is not Christian Muslim, it's not religious. The real insecurity here is not ethnic. The real insecurity here is the greed from politicians, government officials, both at the federal level, at the state level, and at the local government level, creating insecurity for its own citizens for them to get their interest. This is the truth. And we have to if the president is not willing to call these people out, then he's going to have to step aside. He's going to have to step aside if he's not willing to call out the truth behind all this insecurity. We are not doing this again. I repeat myself, we are not doing this again.
All right, Devoe, thank you for sharing those thoughts there. This is a message here from Amadi Nicholas in Iba.
Hey, I can't hear you.
No, I'm taking a message.
Okay,
it
I'm
says,
hearing you now.
have the problems of the striking resident doctors now been resolved? As far as I know, no, they have not been resolved. NERD, to my knowledge, are still on strike. Jerry says, good morning, Ayo Devoe and Ayo Devoe Lakunle and Mr. C. On the released children, why are those girls kept away from journalists whom will interview and know if the children are actually the ones that were kidnapped? I just don't believe this government. They fooled us with vulcanizers in bishops' cassocks claiming they were bishops supporting the Muslim ticket at the time. Well, if you ask me, Jerry, if you ask me, Barrister Danukoda says, good morning, crew. So the abductees were released and the captors were given a pat on the back and asked to go and sin no more. Let us be serious for once with governance in this country. All right, Lakunle, let us talk about open grazing very, very quickly here because time has flown by. The Vanguard is where the story is from. It says the federal government on Tuesday clarified that open grazing has not been banned nationwide, contrary to reports circulating in some media outlets. What's going on with this particular one? We're hearing A, we're hearing B. Lakunle, what's going on? Very quickly.
Okay, so I think it was 2 days ago that news first broke that there was a ban on open grazing. And I looked out of my window, lo and behold, I saw some cows roaming up, and I was asking myself, what's happening? And now to hear again now that they've not done this. You see, this issue is a big issue that we are treating with gloves, kids' gloves, right? And at the rate where we are, at the state where we are, we need to start treating ourselves as humans, and we need to start treating ourselves with dignity and respect. I mean, we know that, okay, so this had been an age-long tradition for some certain people. We also need to put into perspective that there was a time in history that all human beings were pastoral. Some chose to settle in local places, some claimed places, some fought battles to own places, and so some bought places, and so on and so forth. And we are now where we are. So the people who still choose to be pastoral cannot, for the life of me, right, say to the people who have chosen to be domesticated, so to say, for lack of another word, that they must use their facility anyhow they like at whatever time they like. And as a government and as a people, we all must agree that this thing has to stop. How we are going to stop it, how we are going to arrange it, are things that everybody involved can sit down. Today, if you are now make this announcement, you see some people who come out and say that they are Miyetti Allah and they speak English and they are well dressed. They are not coming to that place to speak naked. They speak English. That means that they understand what is being said. That means they can appreciate what is being said. We can, even if it's that they don't even speak English, like their local language, the fact that they understood that they were going to stop them from doing this and came out to do a press conference means that there is an understanding that what you're doing is disturbing other people. So why can't everybody sit together and have whatever arrangement? We've talked about Ruga, we've talked about National Livestock, something act. We've talked about so many things. Can we not aggregate all opinions and differences into any of these things and make it work? Can our local government not make these things work? Can state government not make this thing work? Must we necessarily wait for the federal government on things like this? If I'm a local government chairman, I know the people who bring cattle into my local government. Can I not have a sit down with them and arrange to have these things managed? We don't necessarily need laws for everything. And that's why when we are concentrating on law, that's why much of these problems persist, because the context of making law itself is a problem.
the context of making laws in itself is a problem. This is big 2025. We shouldn't be talking about cows and livestock roaming all over the roads. I mean, come on, let's get serious here. Let me take your messages really quickly here. This is Sheon Odessa from Surulere, who says, good morning, gentlemen. Good morning to you. The Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria and the NUC have had the same graduating quota for years, even with an increasing population. In 2025, other countries are talking about digitalization of healthcare services. Our healthcare professionals in Nigeria are battling with work tools, infrastructure, and good pay. Now, wow. Well, Shonwe is talking from the point of view of a doctor, so he knows what he's talking about. Shonwe, once again, thank you for your service every single time. Tony Marinebeat says, I don't think our problem is really about raising more doctors because many of the trained ones all checked out, like Andrew, and even the few remaining are still poorly paid, hence the strikes. Until Nigerians will rise to enforce a legislation that all public officers must be treated here, the problem won't end. As for the insecurity, President Tinubu should allow a neutral American team, in brackets, mercenaries, if you like, to end this nightmare once and for all. Else, in another 20 years, we may be discussing this. Can they just fall? Can they just okay, I'm not sure what you're trying to say.
Pull down the satellite, they said.
Pull down? Okay, well, that's what like they said we have that's been almost useless in space. I was asking Mr. C about it. I mean, it could be in space, or does it work? It's another question entirely. Fabian Inekwe says, good morning, everyone. The residency program started to train doctors to become specialists and consultants in different fields. The resident doctors have been on strike since 1st of November over unmet demands. Doctors don't go to rural areas because of lower remuneration, welfare, and incentives. This fellows program started this year, and for me, it's another white elephant project. The government should go and learn from Ghana as they are doing some things right. Ajayi Ololinoa says, good morning, Ayo and the fine gentlemen in the house. Thankfully, the kidnapped victims inquirer and the students of Kebbi are being rescued or released, but the utterances of the IG that the abductors were not arrested because they voluntarily complied with the directive of the government is highly provocative. How on earth will these terrorists be allowed to walk away after such dastardly acts? God help us. God help us indeed. Joseph Meunier says, this is exactly what late Fela Kuti sang about, government magic. How long will this government continue with propaganda and criminal minds? Former minister choked Nigerians. What do you mean by choked Nigerians? Even blocked our phone lines and bank accounts because of the importance of SIM registration and linkage. In pains and agony, Nigerians went through the process because we were sure that terrorists and kidnappers would be tracked easily and captured. All right, time to wrap it up. Thank you all so much for all the messages this morning. And thank you so much, Devoe, even though I know that you are moving, but you still made it with us this morning. Thank you so much, Lakunle and Mr. C. Lakunle.
Thank you, Ayo, for having me. I think what we need younger people to do is to get more involved in government and not to wait for programs that will tie their future to uncertainty. Well, we need to move forward. We need to do things different. We need to have different thinking about a lot of things that is with us in Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Lakunle. Devoe.
All right, so everybody gear up. Churches, get your guns, protect the Muslims on Friday. Muslims, get ready, get your guns, protect the Christians on Sunday. That's the way forward. We're not going to be taken by surprise this time.
Mr. C.
Okay, thank you guys for joining the show. Thank you, all the listeners, and to the government. I know it's hard. It's really, really hard for you guys to be serious. Stop with the skits, stop with the content creation, focus on the basics of governance, and try to make Nigeria a safe place for everyone to live in. And to the good people of Nigeria, please just continue to trust your creator, continue to trust God, and continue to be kind to one another and ignore
Hold
the
your guns.
antics.
There's no trusting God here. Hold your guns.
Guns are still illegal in Nigeria, Devoe. Let's just add that.
Don't mind the revolutionary and just do everything lawful. And the labor of your hands will be blessed and rewarded this week. Take care.
Amen to that. Lakunle, please do take care of yourself and keep safe. All right, Lagos, thank you so much for being a part of the show, Freshly Pressed, this morning here on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. It's all about great sporting action in the locker room at 8:15. Chelsea fans,